Well, would you like to introduce yourself first and the title of your book?
Oh, my name is Brendan Walsh, and the name of the book it's called The Raven Gang, and it's the book one of a series I hope to complete, and the series itself is called Noble Animals.
Ah, and how old are you?
20.
I see.
I'll be 21 on October 9th.
So what's the genre of your book?
It's kind of a mesh of genres. I would primarily classify it as science fiction. There's definitely a big mystery aspect to it, and it's kind of a mesh of those, for sure.
So under genre, what would you put it under?
I would put it under science fiction.
Science fiction. So can you give us a brief synopsis of your story?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So it mostly centers around these college-age kids who go to this fictional college called Weller, which is about 30 minutes outside of San Francisco. And so unwittingly they become part of this this madman's plot to basically reshape the world in his own vision by starting with the country. And so what they do is this group of kids, 4 of them at first, find themselves framed for this murder, this horrible murder that could not possibly been committed by a human. And so while the police are stumbling, with leads that are like so mundane that they can't possibly be true, because this is big picture kind of here. Well, these 4 heroes, initially they grow to 7, are the ones that actually piece everything together, and they, in seclusion, just gather piece by piece and realize that in order to find out what this guy's plan is, they have to dig into their own past, to their own, mostly their strange occurrences of things that happened with their parents like a decade prior. So that's it's really interesting, and you'll learn a lot about characters and hopefully yourself as you read it.
Well, speaking of characters, could you give us just a few character names?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's Patrick Buchanan, who's I guess the protagonist. There isn't actually one central protagonist, but if there is one, he is. Gary Frost is also a protagonist. Lindsay Hunter, Jane Buchanan, cousin of Patrick Buchanan, and the antagonist is Dr. Samuel Elder, who was a renowned geneticist at one point before he decided to go rogue.
I see. So how long did it take for you to write it, and what would be some of your inspirations for your book?
Oh, yeah, that's good questions. I started writing it in December of 2013, but back then it was just a very simple idea, and I really had no idea where I wanted to go with it. But the following semester I thought a lot about it, and eventually it took about actual 8 months of serious writing. I had a lot of breaks, summer break. I took a break from writing then for the most part, and all those other parts. But when I was at Whittier, I did a lot of writing. That was a really good time to write. And for inspiration, I mostly have to say I got a lot from a few TV shows I watch. It probably wouldn't be the same without my watching Doctor Who, Supernatural, and reading books like Neil Gaiman primarily. Neil Gaiman was a big influence on me, especially his writing style, because he's madly whimsical with many of his definitions, with the way he identifies people or objects. And so I really took a lot of note from him. And I think from then on, I felt a lot more confident in my writing.
Okay. And how many times were you rejected before a publisher gave you this opportunity?
I lost count. But I want to say it was about 22. With that, also, I had 3 other publishing companies. They were called Rogue Phoenix, The Book Folks. They were a British publisher. Cool, I got their attention. And the most recent one was called Jellyfish, they're based in Utah. And I got that rejection about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. And so after that was when I decided, okay, so this place Ramsey's, which I accepted, and they're currently doing the edits. They did the cover art for me. They're a really new place. They're like, I think besides me, they have one other client currently, maybe a second one. And so it was actually kind of a bit of a leap of faith there. But while they're not completely without qualification, because they're actually an imprint of this other bigger company called Allegiant, which is actually really good. I was actually afraid to query them because they were so prestigious. So it's at least good that I'm part of that family. I think that's really cool.
So Ramsey's the publisher?
Yes.
Where is Ramsey located?
If I remember correctly, they're in Washington, D.C.
Good. And how did they send you the letter of acceptance or word that your book was going to be taken in?
It was, I was going on the subway in Boston at the time to meet my brother's friend Harry, because we were going to hang out for a little bit. And so when I got on the subway, I looked at my email and they said, oh, hey, because sometimes with companies, they'll only ask for 3 chapters and a summary. This place actually wanted the whole thing. So sometimes, you're gonna get a rejection letter right there because, they're not gonna ask for more because they've seen all of it. And so they said that they read it and that they were really interested in moving forward with my project. And that if I wanted to actually get on board with them, to let them know as soon as possible. And so I just waited for Jollyfish to get back to me because I know that they were still waiting. And when they did, that's a few days later, I made up my mind and said, okay, this seems like it's going to be a really fun option. And they seem like really fun people to work with, so yeah.
Let's see. And when is it going to be published for sure? Hard copy?
Considering how fast this place seems to work, I want to say before October. It's going to be before October for sure.
Would they make it into an ebook as well?
It's going to be for ebook and paperback as well.
Good. And are you planning to write another book? I know this is an extension of a series. So how many books in total?
For the series, I have ideas for 5.
5.
They get so strange. The way I plan it, but I really like my ideas. And I've also actually started 2 other books. This one other book doesn't even have a name yet, but for the most part I have the whole thing in my head. And this other book I started when I was at Harvard. I haven't continued it since then. It's kind of a science fiction, like steampunk kind of thing, where it takes place in this fictional world called Engine Land. And they're really, I guess, uptight about their traditions, and they deny that the age of barbaric sorcery and whatever ever existed. So it's I think it's really interesting. The cast of characters is very colorful, and I hope I finish that soon. It's probably not gonna be that long.
So for about half a year or so into all of this, all of the rejections and finally getting accepted, how do you feel today?
I feel pretty good, I think. Does the question mostly focus on as far as my writing? I guess.
As a young author, how do you feel?
Well, pretty good, I think. I also feel like I'm in really good company with this place, and I have a few other writing friends. My best friend Scott Wagner is a screenwriter. At least I hope he still wants to, because he was so busy last semester. And a few other writers I know who go to my college. They've had to deal with a lot of rejections and stuff before. And this other girl, Alex, she's written more than 2 books, and she's really dead set on finding that traditional publisher. So I'm rooting for her. And overall, I feel really good that I'm surrounded by these people.
Yeah, that's good to have that network.
For sure, yes.
So off of that question, so are you going to continue this as a career, or is this just a hobby, or how is it since you're still in college and everything? What do you think?
If it was up to me, it would be my career. For sure. Hypothetically, if I managed to make enough money off of it and, a movie was made, then I probably wouldn't have to be so stressed about the other works. Either way, I think whatever career I do choose is definitely going to appeal to that creative side of me, for sure.
Good.
That's if I can't have that, then I'm at least going to have something very close to it.
Okay, and the last question is, once your book is out on the market, what's the next step?
I guess the next step would be find out the best ways to advertise it. I know a few ways. I've been looking a lot into it because I really want to make sure I knew everything.
Yeah.
Going into it. I don't know everything, but I have a lot of good ideas, and this company will actually do a lot to help me advertise. So I'm very grateful for that. And I'm definitely going to try to increase my Twitter following.
Yes.
And I have a Facebook page I don't really post on that much. That's probably going to change. Ramsey's probably going to tell me to amp it up on Facebook. And so I'm basically going to try to get as many people's attention as possible. And Facebook even has this really handy thing where you could promote your own page and stuff. So I hope to do that, and I hope that works out.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and if I can say one last thing.
Yes, anything.
Suicide Squad's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm glad to see it a second time. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.